What's cracking, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. New video. Today I want to talk about this term active that we hear so much about, right? We hear so much about it on social media, and I just, it trips me out to hear people throw the word around like that, right? And so I just wanted to give my 2 cents. There are two terms that I think are being misused, right? And I'm going to say the two terms are this: active compared to in good standings, right? When I see guys on YouTube that are claiming to be active, I think what they mean is they're in good standings, right? Being in good standings, you go around your homeboys and all that, and whatever. At 40 years old, 50 years old, even in your 30s, man, people claiming, like proudly professing that they can go into other areas of criminality that they really don't want to be a part of anymore. I find it strange, right? But to say that you're active, you wouldn't be on YouTube. You would be in the streets. You'd be fighting a case right now, or you'd be doing time for that work you put in. There are a lot of prison terms that I see used on social media that are used improperly because the terms came from prison. And just like a lot of time, I'll give you an example. There are tattoos that you have to earn in prison that have meaning behind the walls out here in California prisons, right? And older vatos will get out of prison. They'll have those tattoos. And a youngster will see the tattoo, and in his mind, he's like, man, that shit looks hard. I'm going to get that. And he gets it on himself. Doesn't know what it means. He hasn't earned it. But when he gets to the joint, believe me, he's going to have to do some stuff for that, right? It's the same thing with the terminology. Vatos get out of prison and they use certain terms. And then younger dudes or dudes that haven't been behind the walls, they hear the sentence and how the word was used, and then they apply it to totally different things. And the value of the word changes out here compared to in there. Sometimes, these words, it's splitting hairs, and I'm not going to get into all that. But I just find it really weird, man, where I'll give you an example. I have been hearing for a couple years now, been like the last 2 or 3 years, Dubs acts like he's active. How is that possible? How do you act like you're active? I'm a content creator on YouTube. I talk about the pitfalls of criminality, gangbanging, and incarceration. I try to help people get a very good understanding of what it really is. I talk about how there are so many men behind the walls that wish they had an opportunity like us to be out here on the streets. And yet it's the ones out here on the streets that are acting like they really want to be behind the walls. But it's all an act. Nobody wants to be behind them walls, right? I conduct myself the same way on camera, off camera, as I have for many years. I refuse to talk about the factions, to even mention the names of factions. I try to never even mention the names of disruptive groups. I don't name, I call them legends. And people make fun of the fact that I call them legends because they prefer for me to identify these individuals knowing the cops are listening. I don't do that. And yet, on the other hand, you have dudes that get on camera and profess to be active fully with the business, and they're using the names of organizations. They're using the names of individuals. They're bickering online with other so-called active channels. And it's a horrible look. It really is. I see things happening on social media that, especially if you've been to the joint. If you've been to the joint, you know You weren't talking about people's business, especially those guys. You weren't using people's names, especially those guys. And yet you're on social media and you're throwing certain names around as if that's gonna make you like somebody important. It doesn't. It's just like when I talked about being in prison and back when everybody was slammed down, you had all the legends of all the factions slammed down. They would bless certain individuals with authority on the yard to be their eyes and ears, right? And you had some dudes that when they were given that blessing, it went to their head. It made them believe that they were actually somebody when they're the same dude they were before they got that letter. Same exact dude. It's just they got more responsibilities. Anything goes wrong, that's their ass. Right? It's kind of like the same thing I see on social media, and it's, look, if somebody left a comment yesterday in my comment section, and he named one of the big four organizations and talked about their influence on the yard. And my response was, it's crazy how comfortable you feel naming that organization in the comment section, talking about that organization in the comment section of social media. When I know for a fact, a lot of people behind those walls, they watch my channel. They read the comments. So for those of you that are frivolous enough to be in the comment section, gangbanging, some of you, very few, but some of you put your profile picture up. Some of you, it's your name too. Just be careful, man. Not only are the guys behind the walls reading the comments and watching the videos, but so are the feds. So are the cops. I talk about it all the time. People are very careless. They let social media let them too comfortable. Let them get too comfortable. I'm just a square. Proudly. I'm proudly a square. I enjoy my freedom. I love my family. And I think more people should appreciate those things. To guys that are really with that business, guys that are really living that lifestyle, what somebody says on social media isn't going to impress them. I told a story a long time ago, and I'm going to tell it again real quick. I remember being in the shoe, and there was a guy, he put in a lot of work. He shed a lot of blood. And he was in the pod with one of the legends. And out of nowhere, he asked the legend, hey, is it cool if I slide you my paperwork to check out? The legend didn't ask to check out his paperwork. He would give a damn, right? But he's like, well, all right, whatever. Yeah, I guess. So he slides the legend the paperwork, and in his cell, he was chest out, because I put in work. A little while later, the legend gets on the tier and says, hey, what was I supposed to get out of this? And the heartbreak in the Vato's voice, huh? And he said, yeah, because what I see in here is that you're an idiot. He said, I don't see nothing about you making no money, generating no income. Like I see you put in work, but I got thousands of Vatos to do that for me. This is what he's telling him. He put himself on the tier, and so he got his response on the tier. So if you have a dude that's behind the walls, was in Pelican Bay shoe for putting in work, yet he was seeking the spotlight for what he was already expected to be doing, how do you think this boasting and bragging on social media goes over with those guys? There's one dude in particular that pops into my mind with this theatrics of being active as hell on YouTube, right? I really believe that at some point, sooner or later, one of these guys that has gotten on social media and has proclaimed for everybody to hear that he's aligned with a specific group, I think if he ever goes back, or any of these guys ever go back that do that shit, I think they're gonna have to answer some questions. Man, social media is a blessing, man. Our freedom is a blessing. I don't see why guys get on social media, have an opportunity to become their own boss, live life the way they want to live it, take care of their family. I don't understand why they jeopardize all that for a label. But that's my video for today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Everybody, please be safe, be smart, and tell the ones you love that you love them, man. I'm out of here.